Messapus, anxious to destroy the truce, charges on horseback toward a Tuscan prince, Orestes, wearer of a royal emblem. Orestes, luckless in retreating, stumbles and tumbles over on his head and shoulders against the altars at his back. But fierce Messapus rushes with his lance. From high upon his horse, with his tremendous shaft, he strikes Orestes heavily, although he pleads so much. Messapus cries, "He has it. I give to the great gods a better victim." The Latins crowd around, they strip Orestes' warm limbs. But as they move in, Coryneus snatches a charred torch from the altar. And as Aeneas strides close and aims a blow, he smashes fire in his face. The stench of singeing rises. Aeneas' great beard bursts into flame, and Coryneus follows close on the stroke. He grips the hair of his stunned enemy. He pins him down with thrusting bent knee and stabs his side with rigid sword. Another Trojan, Podalirius, who charges with drawn sword, towers above the shepherd Aeneas, even as he rushes just where the fight is hottest. But the Latin draws back his axe, and Podalirius has his head split from forehead down to chin. His splattered blood drenches the arms of Aeneas. Then cruel quiet, iron sleep press down his eyes. Their light is locked in endless night. But stretching out his unarmed hand, the pious Aeneas, with bare head, cries to his comrades, "Where are you rushing? Why this sudden tempest? Hold back your anger. Now the truce is set. Its terms are fixed. I am the only one who has the right to battle. Let me fight and set your fears aside. With my right arm I shall maintain our treaty. Sacred rights make Turnus mine." Yet as he pleaded, cried, a hissing arrow glided on its wings, shaft aimed and driven, whirling, home by hand that is unknown. And whether it was chance or was a god who gained so great a glory for the Rutulians, the fame is hidden. No soldier boasted of Aeneas' wounding. When Turnus sees Aeneas quit the ranks and sees the captains in dismay, he burns with sudden hope. At once he calls for horse and weapons. Proud, he mounts his chariot and takes the reins. Racing, he gives to death so many bodies of brave men. He topples so many, half dead, as he wheels ahead. He tramples over troops, he snatches spear on spear and flings them at the fugitives. Even as bloody Mars, in breakneck course along the river banks of Hebrus, clings his shield and calls to war and gives loose rein to his wild horses. They fly across the open plain, outstripping south and west winds. In farthest Thracia groans beneath their pounding hoofs, and around him, as his retinue, black fear and anger race and stratagem. Just so the eager Turnus lashes at his horses as they sweat and foam. He tramples his enemies, miserably cut down. The quick hoofs splash their way through gory spray. They beat upon the mingled blood and sand. Now he has given Sthenelaus and Pholus and Thamyris to death, two in close combat, and Sthenelaus from far. From far he catches Glaucus and Lades, son of Imbrasus, whom Imbrasus himself had raised in Lycia and furnished, each of them, with the same armor, fit both for dueling hand to hand, or else for riding, faster than the winds, on horseback. Elsewhere Eumedes rides into the melee. He is descended from old Dolon, famed in war, and he renewed the name of his grandfather in his father's heart and hand. His father once spied on the Danaan camp, then dared to ask as his reward Achilles' chariot. For such daring Diomedes had punished him with other payment. Now he hopes no longer for Achilles' horses. When Turnus sees Eumedes far away, across the open plain, he first casts his light javelin. Then he checks his team of horses, leaps from his chariot, and overtakes Eumedes, fallen, half dead. Turnus digs his foot into Eumedes' neck. He plucks Eumedes' glowing sword from his right hand. He dips it deep into his throat and adds, Trojan, lie there and measure out these lands, the Italy you tried to win by war. This is the prize of those who try to tempt me to battle. So do they establish walls. And then, to keep Eumedes company, his lance sends down Asbetes to the shades, and Chlorius, Sybaris, Thersilochus, and Dares, and Thymoetes, fallen from the neck of his uneasy horse, just as the blast of the Edonian Boreas echoes across the deep Aegean Sea and chases breakers in to shore, and winds sweep and the clouds retreat across the sky. So too, wherever Turnus cuts his way, there do the ranks recede, then, routed, run. His very speed propels him on, the wind against his chariot shakes his flying crest. But Phegeus could not stand his urgency, his raging anger, and he blocked the way of Turnus's chariot. With his right hand he gripped the bits of those excited horses that foamed across their reins, and while they drag off Phegeus, hanging from their harness, Turnus's broad lance head reaches his defenseless side. Set fast, it breaks his double-plated coat of mail. It grazes Phegeus with a flesh wound. Yet Phegeus whirled around, and with his shield he faced his enemy. He sought the aid of his drawn blade, but then the wheel and axle, as they rolled on, hurled him headlong and sprawling across the ground. With this, Turnus hacked off the head of Phegeus with a sword, a stroke between the upper border of his breastplate and helmet's lower edge, and then he left the trunk of Phegeus lying on the sand.